Around 10:30 p.m. Friday, police arrived at Brown's apartment complex Altera to find him in the parking lot with multiple gunshot wounds to his lower back.
He also was concerned that there were people out there who wanted to do him harm. When he was subpoenaed to testify in this case, he relayed to the court that he did not want to participate because of concerns for his own safety.
As a Christian, I believe I'm commanded to offer her love and compassion just as Brant John did. Of course.
Amber Guyger's trial, Joshua's testimony was critical in a number of ways, right?
It was critical. We have a civil trial pending that was stayed pending the outcome of the criminal trial. When that stay is lifted, our first witness that we would have called was Josh Brown.
Hey, it's iCkEdMeL. And there is so much I want to talk about, and I want to try to put it into context for you so I can make it digestible. Now, Joshua Brown, in November, it's reported that he was shot.
I've learned over the weekend that he was shot in November of 2018 in a nightclub. Someone else in that nightclub was killed.
Him and a friend, according to Daily Blast.
A few months ago, he and his friend were shot. His friend got killed. This was at a birthday party.
Was celebrating a birthday party. Lee Merritt said they were at a club. Another source report said they were at a gentleman's club, whatever. They were shot. His friend or the other person died. Now, Joshua Brown was in fear for his life because he was in fear that they would retaliate, but he was also getting threats about this trial.
He still was exposed because of this trial, and that falls on them.
Because he received so many death threats amongst this trial.
He was also in fear for that November incident in 2018 where the person he was with was shot, and he believes that he was actually the intended target.
He did say that he feared that that person would return to finish him off.
It was his belief that he was likely the intended target, and that there are still people out there who wanted to do him harm.
He felt like he needed protection because he was exposed that much more. Right. And you couple that with the death threats, why wouldn't you ensure that this witness has some sort of protection?
Joshua Brown, I heard there was some rumblings, some people calling him a snitch. I've seen some posts.
Community that Joshua lived in, participating in a state case is frowned upon. You're seen as a snitch.
And it's such a damn shame that there's people out there that would even mutter him being a snitch in this case with Botham Jean. And there's a lot of ignorant, dumb people, especially people that have no idea about any of these kind of terminologies. He was subpoenaed.
And when he was subpoenaed to testify in this case, he relayed to the court that he did not want to participate because of concerns for his own safety.
So the audio clip that I showed you in the beginning, somebody pointed this out on Facebook where she says during an intermission, of course he's here. I'm surprised he came. I saw that post on Facebook and I thought it was a joke. And I went and looked at the original testimony, which is on YouTube myself, and it's factual. It's in the intermission. So I did a little bit more digging and I went a little bit further. So I want to give you guys the full context. When Joshua Brown first walks in, take a look at this clip and look at the expression on Judge Tammy's face when she sees him.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brown. Please have a seat. Do you recall that I previously swore you under oath?
Yes, ma'am.
Joshua Brown, during that testimony, he has a pretty emotional breakdown that was noted by many people, and this part here is what caused the intermission.
We can take a moment, Joshua. This is fine. We're not in a rush, okay?
Yeah, we need a moment.
Deputy Johnson, she's like, you retired.
All right.
So that caused the intermission during the trial, and while he's gone, they pick up feed, like the news reporters, they pick up feed, audio feed, so they feel like the judge is talking. Because a lot of times when they took breaks during the trial, they like muted the audio, but the audio was on for a bit, so they go back to the judge and they hear these few bits of seconds of audio, and then it looks like whoever the engineers were, whatever it is, they realized and they put the mic back on mute. To me, this is huge because this is a huge indicator on video. You can go, I'll put the links down below. You can go look at it yourself, that this man, and they knew that he feared for his life. And they didn't value him. They just used him for the court testimony or whatever, and that was it.
Trial, Joshua's testimony was critical in a number of ways, right?
It was critical. We have a civil trial pending that was stayed pending the outcome of the criminal trial. When that stay is lifted, our first witness that we would have called was Josh Brown.
Here's another thing that I wanted to contest, where there was people saying that his testimony wasn't really important enough for him to get killed.
Because he would have provided testimony that was critical to undermining Amber Guyger's defense.
The past history of this person that remains out there, it's logical that this could perhaps be most likely it.
If you were asking me, I think it will likely prove to have something to do with a previous incident. But right now, we don't have enough evidence to rule anything out.
For people to rule out the police automatically, like outright, because they feel his testimony wasn't enough, it just shows you how these people don't know what his testimony was about. One of the most important highlights. During his testimony, he was saying that he was conflicting against what the prosecutor was saying, conflicting against her story. He was saying exactly what Bunny Babb said, the woman that was shunned and hushed and fired, and they did everything else to silence her. He was saying that she did not give verbal commands.
He would testify that not only did he not hear her making those commands, that people outside of that apartment complex could hear the activity going in.
He would hear Botham singing every morning, so you could hear from inside the apartments. He contested against her saying that she gave verbal commands. He said he heard nothing. It was just shots.
She claimed that she shouted in a loud voice for Botham Jean to show his hand. If Amber Guyger had shouted, "Show me your hands," one of the dozen of people who testified from that floor would have heard her say that, and no one did.
So I am very exhausted. It's 2:30 in the morning, but I wanted to play this clip from Judge Tammy Kemp, double downing on Amber Guyger. No regrets. She's a Christian, and the brother Brant doubled down. The jurors doubled down, said Amber Guyger, what she did was a mistake, and Judge Tammy Kemp doubled down. I don't think what she did was illegal. I don't think they can arrest her, but a lot of people didn't like what they saw.
Then she said, "But I don't even have a Bible. I don't own a Bible. I don't know where to begin." And I said to her, "Well, I'll get one for you."
Do you understand that people view this as that's not your role and responsibility when you have that robe on for the betterment of the people of Dallas County? That's
No,
what you're not supposed to do.
I do not. Miss Guyger asked me for a hug. And I'm embarrassed to say that she had to ask me twice. I never asked Miss Guyger to pray, and contrary to popular opinion, I did not pray with her.
Joshua seems like somebody that had changed his life for the better. Businessman, educated, athletic. Oh, and by the way, he has a daughter.
End of the day, I ain't gonna lie, I wish he would have stayed out that trial.
Anderson says late last year, Brown was involved in a shooting at a Dallas gentleman's club and had been keeping a low profile, mainly managing a handful of Airbnbs he owned and spending time with his young daughter.
Let me share this last story about something that happened to a neighbor of mine, just to show you how they treat people. Not only the communities that you live in, your own people that shoot and kill you every day and call you a snitch for the betterment of your own kind, right? Not only that, but I had a neighbor of mine across the street. There was a couple of kids, young kids, they were trying to break into this guy's house. A new guy moved into the neighborhood. In my neighborhood, we kind of look out for each other because it's a family-oriented neighborhood. But a lot of times people come from the outside, they scout, they look around, they look at your schedule. So they tried to break into his house by the screen door. My neighbor took pictures of these kids. I'm talking like HD pictures, and called the cops. So he did this guy across the street a favor, helped him out. The cops came out. The cops even caught the guy. That they caught the guys. So now there's this whole trial thing going on. Well, this guy, my neighbor, the guy that's being a good Samaritan, he gets subpoenaed. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to be involved. He was just trying to be a good Samaritan. But he gets subpoenaed. Not only that, it's like 2 different trials or something like that. Because it was like 3 kids. I don't know if he told me it was like 2 or 3 different trials. He has to go to these different trials. He's not getting compensated. And he has to miss out on work. And his family relies on him. And he's worried about retaliation because these kids know this guy lives right there next to me across the street. And I think the guy that he helped out, I don't think he has to show up in court because the guy wasn't even in the house at the time. So this guy, being a good Samaritan, has to go through all this crap just to get these kids prosecuted. You know? So my feelings with Joshua Brown, I've always said we need more information, but you can't exclude the police because Dallas PD, there's some corruption going on there. It's been exposed during this trial. Merritt spoke about it. It could be this guy. Here's what the scary thing about this all is too, is that during that shooting that happened in 2018, they don't know who the person was. Like there was no suspects or whatever. So imagine if this case with Joshua Brown went cold. Right? They didn't find the person. The first 48 hours are the most critical. And they're saying that there's no leads or suspects. And by the way, my neighbor told me that he was never going to do that again, to help out somebody in need like that. Because to get caught up in court, and look at Joshua Brown, lost his life.